through?
You are coming through. We are back again. Bottom of the Barrel Podcast. My name is Jermaine. I'm here with the one and only Mr. Magnificent. Say your name.
My name is Matt. That's where it's at. Was that a good catchphrase?
That's the sound of me losing interest.
Oh no, we have to hope.
Your catchphrase is like a bad stock tip. I lose interest.
Alright.
In your face.
That's not cool, man.
It's very cool. I liked it a lot. So how's the world treating you, man? How you doing?
Hanging in. Can't complain, but I still do.
Oh, God. This might be a long podcast. And by long, I mean short. Oh.
So what do you want to talk about? You sure I'm coming in all right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I can't hear you as well. That's the only reason I asked.
Oh, that sucks.
As usual. I don't know if it's on my end or yours. But if I'm coming in, that's all that matters.
I don't know. It looks like you're coming in. It's not very low.
As long as you are, then we should be good. You can hear me good over yours.
And if all else fails, no one will ever hear this.
Alrighty.
I don't know. I was thinking watching an episode of Friends, which I often do not. But it just made me start thinking about something which I thought was kind of interesting. It was an episode where, if you're not familiar with Friends, there's two roommates that are bumping. I'm not going to explain it to you. Look that shit up.
I think everybody's familiar with that show.
Well, I feel like I had to, and then I was like, bump it. I don't care enough to do it. But if you are familiar with it, you know who Chandler and Joey are, roommates, friends, blah, blah, blah. Well, there's an episode where Chandler kisses Joey's girlfriend, and, they argue, they're upset, blah, blah, blah. And then they eventually are okay with it, and he starts dating his girlfriend. So you're like, really? In my mind, I know it's a sitcom, and I don't take it too seriously, and of course I don't. But I'm like, in that situation, could I just go back to being friends with that person? And I'm thinking in my mind, oh, hell no. And, and if, people familiar with the show know that Joey's more the womanizer and Chandler's supposed to be the good guy. And Chandler's the guy who does, you expect it to be the other way around. So I don't know that I could be as forgiving. And I know it's a TV show, but, I've seen situations where this has happened to friends. And if it's not a fight, those people are not talking anymore. So I was curious, what was your point of view on the situation? Because I'm pretty sure you've seen the episode. And
well, I think it was the Dalai Lama maybe said bros before hoes. It might have been Mother Teresa. I'm not sure. But no, I couldn't trust. I'd have a hard time trusting that friend from that point.
That's the way I came away thinking about it. That number one, that's a character flaw.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the woman has a 50% stake in that as well, but still, man, that's if you can't trust your friend and your roommate too.
Yeah,
I don't think you can build that trust back up. It would be hard to me. I mean, I think you could eventually be friends, but there's no way you would ever go back to be the friends you were before, because you would never trust that person after that.
Well, it's not like you could be, hey man, why don't you take my girl out for, y'all just run to the grocery store real quick while I wait here. You wouldn't be doing that anymore.
Exactly, or letting her hang out at the apartment while you were gone waiting on you. You'd be like, oh, hell no. And which is funny is because we both listened to that Joe Rogan podcast with Dave Foley.
Yeah.
And Dave Foley's talking about his ex-wife, and he mentions in there that she was his best friend's girlfriend first.
Yeah.
And he took her from his best friend. Which in my mind it's unfortunate that marriage ended up being a train wreck for him, but that's kind of, I hate to, be like, that's karma, but it's like, dude,
Yeah.
You
And
know?
that's what Rogan said. He was like, karma.
Yeah, it's like, dang.
Yeah, I think he got paid back and then some.
Yeah, it's generally not worth it. To me, it's not worth it. I've had two instances where my friends were dating girls that eventually told me they wish they had met me first, and each time in both situations, I said the same thing. Well, I gotta go. And it's interesting because are you laughing?
What?
I was like, oh, I can't believe he's laughing.
I just imagine, what did he do after that? Well, I gotta go. And then I started masturbating furiously.
That's so wrong, man. That's exactly what did not happen.
Okay. I believe you.
You're killing our podcast, man. And the first one was very strange, I will say no names. I will tell you after the podcast, our listeners, you're screwed. You just get a story.
Unless you like us on our podcast page, and then we'll tell you
everything. Yeah. Once you start commenting and liking us and all that other good jazz, we'll let you in. But for now, you get story with no names. But they with the first girl, I had liked this girl before, and we were in school, and I was like, oh man, I'm kind of into this girl. I asked a friend that kind of hooked me up, and he's like, yeah, I'll ask around and find out about her. And eventually he comes back and he's like, oh, she's dating this other guy who's a friend of his. But eventually this person became my friend as well, and so I was like, never mind. And eventually, we became really good friends, and he's still dating the girl and everything. So I've checked out and everything, and so, but I get to meet her through him, and we all hang out, and I never think anything about it after that. But it was just one day we after class had saw each other, and she was talking blah blah, and long conversation, and I'm thinking the whole time, because I don't know if I said this to you before. But if I'm talking to girls who have boyfriends, they sound like the adults in the Charlie Brown cartoon. Right. I could care less what they're saying, what they're talking about. I'm just being nice. Yeah. And, she's just like, da 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 da, and she starts going on about her life, and it's like, talk to your boyfriend about this crap. And da da, I just wish I'd met you first. And I was like, oh, shit just got real.
Well, she can't say that.
Yeah.
That's messed up on her end to even say that.
Yeah. And, and I never even told my friend the story. I just was like, they eventually broke up, but I was like, nope. I was like, it's over, it's gone, it's dead, and I will never tell him that story. And with the other one, it was even funnier. Not really funny, but my friends started dating this girl. Well, they were talking, not really dating. And I guess things were moving slow. And then we were all hanging out at a bar or something like that. And he was getting irritated with her because nothing was progressing. Yeah. But they were still hanging out, it was weird. And as we were leaving, he gets mad with her because they rode together. And he goes to the car. He's like, I'll meet you out in the car. And she's mad. And we're walking out after we just finished paying. And she's like, da da da. I hope you don't think I'm like this or a bad person. And I wish I had met you first. And I was like, it was nice meeting you. Let me get out of here. And they kind of went back and forth. Maybe dated for a little bit, fooled around, all that good jazz. But nothing really came of it. And I guess they became friends, as I put it in air quotes. We would still hang out with a bunch of other people. And he would go she speaks very highly of you. And I was like, ooh. He's like, so, if, him being a good friend, he goes, if you're interested, you should talk to her. And I was like, And he's like, no, dude, it's cool. I was like, I was like, no way, dude. He's like, no, man, if she's interested in you, you should talk to her. I was like, nope, no way. Because, again, I felt like even if I was interested, even if I was interested in the girl, which I wasn't, because I thought she was batshit crazy, and I told him.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done it because to me that would ruin the friendship, and it just eventually wouldn't have been worth it. I don't know, call me a dumbass or whatever, but I try to treat my friends like friends.
Yeah, it would just be awkward. No matter what, it would always be awkward.
To me, that's what, and I tell other people that story, and they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Well, I guess I know where you stand and what kind of friend you are."
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, we want to be friends. We don't want to know too much about each other. Like, we don't want to share. There's being too familiar.
Yeah, it weirds me out. I didn't know if you had any stories or anything you'd like to contribute to that whole deal.
No, just that I don't know. Off the top of my head, I know that I can remember 2 girls I went to high school with that were best friends, and one got her first boyfriend. They're pretty serious, and then the other one ended up going out with that same dude. And I don't know what the situation was, if they actually cheated on the one girl, or it was just kind of like, oh, well, you just broke up, so now I'm gonna date. But it just totally ruined. I mean, and I could be wrong, but I still to this day don't think they're really friends anymore.
Right.
And they were like very, very like the closest of friends. And so I just think, it's kind of like, all right, you crossed the line, I can never trust you again. And people think, oh, well, it's just off there as a love of war or whatever. I was like, well, you're gonna ruin. And of course, neither one of them ended up with that dude,
which makes it even worse.
Yeah.
Well, I'll give you another one. This one is so idiotic in the way they handled the situation in the beginning, where it's another friend, two friends that I know. One starts dating the other one's ex-girlfriend, and he and the other friend and ex-girlfriend hadn't dated for a year, so it's a lot of time has passed in my mind. And he like tells me, he's like, man, I'm dating such and such's ex-girl. He's like, but we haven't told him yet. And I was like, well, when's the last time they dated? And he was like, oh, they haven't dated in over a year. And I said, well, I would just say to him, hey man, I've been talking to such and such, your ex-girlfriend. I just wanted to let you know, just be upfront about it. So it's not like you see it and be like, he sees it and it's all awkward. I don't know.
Right.
To me, I felt like my advice to him was, just go tell him, because I mean it's his ex-girl. They hadn't dated in a year. I'm pretty sure, knowing the guy who he got chicks like crazy. Both both of these guys were guys that got chicks like crazy, which is kind of funny. So what he chose to do is not tell him, because the girl was like didn't want him to know, because I think the girl secretly wanted to get back with the other guy. Figured over time they would get back together and eventually get married, which didn't happen. But he and this girl secretly dated because, for what other reasons I'll never understand. I was like, just tell him, man, because eventually, if you guys get serious, he's gonna find out. But they kept sneaking around. So one night they're like at Wendy's in drive-thru. Or something weird like that, and somehow, they ordered some food, and how they make you wait, and the car behind you might pass you. Well, the car behind them was that guy's roommate, and he passes their car and sees both of them, and honks and waves, and the girl just starts to panic, like, oh my god, and and he comes back and tells me the story later, and I was like, don't you wish you would have went ahead and told him now? Because think about how awkward this is gonna be, because his roommate's gonna tell him what he saw.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's probably going home and he's gonna tell him, right? So you already know from this point on you're gonna have to talk to him. And he's all nervous and everything, because he's like, oh, it's gonna look really awkward because we hadn't said anything. And of course he tells the guy, dating your ex, blah blah. And guess what he says? Cool dude, have fun.
Yeah.
That's all he said. It was like, he could care less. And I was like, and when he told me the story, I was like, seriously? I was like, you see, this could have all been avoided. And I was like, I told you that, and he got mad because I was like, I told you it ended up this way. He wouldn't care.
Yeah.
But it was like a whole lot of stress, and it probably went on for like a couple of months that they tried to hide this relationship. It was funny, man.
So much drama.
It's unnecessary.
It rarely seems worth it.
No, I mean I can tell you. There's another little funny story where me and another friend, and I know this other friend won't remember the story, but I remember it because it just was funny to me. Like, we had hung out with these girls, and one of the girls told me one time, she was like, come by my room, because this is when we were in college. I was like, sweet. So, I had like an hour before class. So I was like, I'll drop by and see her, kill some time. So I go up there, I sneak up there. I don't know why, but that's just how I do things. I just try to be incognito. So I go up and see this girl.
Creepy.
That hurts my feelings, man, when you say stuff like that.
I was trying to interpret things for the kids.
Oh my god. But,
audience.
So, I go up and see her. And it's funny because I was actually interested in her roommate at the time. Her roommate had a boyfriend, so I didn't waste my time. So she's the one who called me up, so I tried to talk to her. So we're up there sitting on her bed, her roommate's there, and I was like, can't we get rid of her? And of course, the roommate's like talking my ear off the whole time. Girl's not saying a word to me. I'm like, what's she calling me up here for?
Right.
But so I was like, hung around, was nice, talked to him, blah blah, and then I left, thinking like, that was a waste of my time. I won't even waste my time with this girl anymore. So, later that night after my class, we hang out with a bunch of friends, and it just so happens that the girl that lived across the hall from her was dating another friend of mine. And she was like, next time you come up on my hall, or you come visit girls on my hall, you should stop by and say hello. And I was like, shit. And everybody that was at the house that time was like, oh, Mr. Creeper, like you said. They're like, oh, you sneaking around? And one of the friends goes, who'd you go see? And I told him, he was like, dude. I was like, oh, really? He's like, dude, I've been trying to talk to her for like weeks. I was like, oh.
He's like, you're like, my bad.
Because again, I had no idea. Number one, he had never told me. Number two, she was the one who told me to come by and see her. So I had no idea. So I was done at that point. I was more so done because I was annoyed by it.
Yeah, but like if she'd been cool and y'all had hit it off, what he had said wouldn't have been enough to steer you away. Because he never said anything.
No.
He never made a move.
No, and it'd have been totally different if I had known beforehand.
Right.
But we both laughed about it, and nothing. He eventually, I don't know, maybe he did, but. It was just funny to me when he was like, dude, I was like, shit, this thing just keeps getting worse. Because I didn't want anyone to know that I went up there. Old girl called me out in front of everybody.
Of course.
What did you want to talk about, man? That's,
Oh, we can talk about college.
No, I don't want to go down that road anymore. That was just, pertinent to the story.
I don't know, you said something about movies again, or did you see anything?
I watched, I saw Limitless. Did you ever see that?
Who's in that?
Bradley Cooper, Robert De Niro.
Oh, is that any good?
I liked it, yeah.
Cool.
It's a good flick, man. It's, Bradley Cooper takes a drug that helps, enhance his brain power. So he just, is able to retain and pull up old stuff and just maximize brain function. It's that kind of cool thing, but it kind of breaks you down the more you use it. It's kind of similar to, I know, like, reading articles about it, they compared it. They're like, people who like this liked A Scanner Darkly, which I did.
Yeah.
They compared it to a couple other movies, and I'm just drawing a blank right now. But it's that kind of thing where, as great as this thing is, it's going to start breaking your health down, and it's that kind of thing. I don't want to give away too much, but I suggest seeing it.
You like Robert De Niro.
That's my guy. That's my favorite actor, so I was going to see it anyway, but I was into the premise more so than who was in it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those movies that looks really cool. Like, I'm not a big movie guy, but the way it's shot is pretty cool to me. Because, like, when he's not on the drug, you see, like, it looks all dark and dim. But as soon as he takes it, everything, like, you see how his mood and everything changes. The lighting, the color in the movie change.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing, Nothing groundbreaking, but still kind of cool aspect to the movie.
Cool.
The other one I saw was The Shining for the first time.
Cool.
I had avoided it because it has always been described to me as a horror movie, which I absolutely hate.
Yeah.
And watching it is, I guess it's still considered a horror movie, but it's not that. It's more suspenseful, I would say, than it is horror, because there's probably only one scene. Well, there's a couple scenes where I think people find gross, but only one to me. Well, I was like, oh.
The girl?
Huh?
The girl?
No. Oh, well, yeah, that was bad. But it was the when he swung the axe on the one dude.
Oh yeah.
I was like, ah. I mean,
It's like 33 years old. You can't really worry about spoilers anymore.
I do, because I hate when people ruin stuff for me and they don't. Even when they're talking about, I'm like, don't talk about a key point. But that's not a key point.
No, but it's like that question of at what point are you able to talk about a film? Because I get annoyed if people are like, hey, I haven't seen it. Like, it's Casablanca. It came out a long time ago.
Well, that was always different to me. Like, when it's a movie like that, and when people say it and they know they have no interest in watching that movie, then you're just being a dick. But like, if you're talking about a movie I really want to see and I've like marked it off on my list of must see, and you're just like, hey man, or my favorite, I was thinking about this earlier, which drives me crazy, is when someone's like, I choose to not ask people if they've seen movies, because they will always tell me more than I want to know. Like, hey man, have you seen The Shining? And they're like, yeah, dude, wait till they get to this part. And when you see that, man, tell me, I can't wait for you to, I want to see your reaction when this happens. And you're like,
well, now I know it's coming.
Damn it, now I'm going to be sitting there the whole hour and 40 minutes thinking about this one scene, when it's going to happen.
I think those people are probably the worst people in the world. It's people that say crap like that annoy me so much.
And they're like, no, it's not. It has nothing to do with the main part of the movie. I was like, yeah, but it's one of those scenes that's probably gonna be one that I would be surprised by. But now I'm just gonna be like, when's it gonna happen? I don't know.
Or people will pose a question a certain way that'll tell you what's already happened.
Yeah.
So do you like so-and-so or so-and-so better? I'm like, well, I wouldn't even know so-and-so. Now I obviously know something's going to happen.
Or when they say, like, if they were talking about a movie and they're like, yeah, and I can't believe such and such died in the first 10 minutes of the movie. And you're like, you rat bastard. They're billed as the star.
Yes.
You're like, you took that away from me. I don't know. And I think that's one of the things. I didn't really ask people if they've seen The Shining. I just was like, I'll just keep it to myself because I really want to see it.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And especially after I saw that documentary about Stanley Kubrick, I really got intrigued by it, and seeing the articles about, some of the myths about the movie, like the whole stuff about the, the Apollo 11 moon landing, and what's the other stuff?
Some with the Indian.
Yeah, with the whole Native American thing.
Yeah.
And I know they mention
the Holocaust.
Yeah, it's weird, man. I started thinking about the Native American thing, and I was like, that's a theme in a lot of Stephen King's books.
Yeah.
And I was like, he really has a thing about that. So that was curious to me. Anything you'd like to add, sir, about Stanley Kubrick or The Shining?
Well, yeah, I think we mentioned it before. There's a documentary about that movie that's out now. It's pretty interesting. And I don't believe all the theories, but some of them, you're like, oh, okay, I can see that there's something to this.
Right.
Like little commentaries on the Holocaust, I probably believe the Native American thing. I don't know to what extent I buy the moon landing stuff.
I think that's the moon landing stuff is like, because when they do the whole the hotel, the front of the hotel looks like an A. I'm like, well,
to me that was one of the weakest arguments.
Or the columns look like an 11. I was like, actually, they look like 111 because there's 3 of them.
Well, and in the documentary they mention
there are 11 cars.
The room key, or like the room number, is supposed to look like something. They're like, oh, if you look at it like this, it's moon key instead of like, or something like that. Instead of room key, it's like moon. And I'm like, that's a stretch. Like,
well, just when they're like, you see the opening shot and there are 11 cars in front of the A-shaped building, and I was like, come on, guys.
Yeah, and I think because it's Kubrick, people see more than there is.
Right.
Because he's just so iconic and weird, and
he's known for doing weird shit too.
Yeah, and he's so detail oriented that people are like, oh, well, if anybody was to do this, it would be him.
Well, and I know we were talking about that movie. Was it Dr. Strangelove?
Yeah,
which I haven't seen.
That's probably my favorite movie he's ever done.
Like when they in the documentary, they talked to like James Earl Jones, and he thought Kubrick was brilliant and a great filmmaker, but he's like he was annoyed by him as well because he said he felt like he treated actors like props in the movie, instead of like actors. He said that annoyed him because wasn't there a thing about the one guy in the movie where I could have sworn they said like Kubrick would make him do 2 takes and one would be like a straight take and one would be outrageous and outlandish, and he used the outlandish one, but the guy
George C. Scott.
Yeah, and the guy he thought he was going to use the straight take, and how pissed off he was when he saw the cut of the movie.
Yeah.
Until, the movie becomes huge and all this critical acclaim, and then, it's like, oh.
Which, frankly, if that's what it took to get that performance,
right?
Because George C. Scott is hilarious in that film,
but it was just interesting to me that how much he supposedly hated it until people went nuts about it.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, just that same point that he's my favorite part of that movie, even though Peter Sellers is kind of, I guess, the more famous because Sellers does like 4 roles or 3 roles or something, and he's also, of course, very good, but George C. Scott, like, mugs to the camera to, like, the point of, like, Jim Carrey years later. But it's just friggin' hilarious. And especially when you see George C. Scott later, like, if you know him from Patton and even, like, that Exorcist film he did and stuff when he got a little bit older, just seeing him younger and acting like that is, I don't know, to me it's even funnier.
Right.
Because you'd never see him do anything like that.
And to me, it was, like, one of the coolest things, it's that kind of stuff that I love to hear about. Like, just the fact that he had no idea that he was going to use it and angry and upset, but it made for a better film, which, you should be happy about. And of course, didn't he win an award for that movie? Correct me if I'm wrong.
George C. Scott?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I could be wrong. I could have sworn he got something. There was something that made it even better. Probably was more of a for Stanley Kubrick, like, ha ha ha, I was right. No. Is there anything else you want to throw in? Something you've come across?
Let's see. Movies. I'm kind of blanking all of a sudden.
No, he didn't win anything.
Is that your favorite Kubrick, or which, not, like, out of what you've seen, which ones did you
like?
I
haven't seen very many of his movies. The only ones I've seen are the Shining, Clockwork Orange, Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
See, I keep forgetting that's one of his. Because there's so many of his I want to see, but I don't know, Full Metal Jacket was okay. I know a lot of people go crazy about it, but I mean, I enjoyed it, but once was enough. I think I enjoyed The Shining more so because of all the stuff that I knew about it before I watched it.
Yeah.
A Clockwork Orange was just
crazy.
Yeah, it was a movie I watched and had to stop and go back to because it was just like, woof. I was thinking earlier today, like, how, they couldn't make that kind of movie today. They could, but it wouldn't get a major release.
Yeah. That's true.
It would be so much harder to get that movie out, and I don't...
It would be like Quentin Tarantino presents, and it would go straight to video.
Yeah, because, maybe you get lucky and get it at Sundance or something like that, but now... it'd be virtually impossible because the studios want to slam dunk every time, Man,
they've already had, like, they said, 3 bombs this year for films. Like, Lone Ranger hasn't done nearly what they thought.
The Channing Tatum.
A White House Down.
Yeah,
that bombed. That other movie they did with the same exact plot. That wasn't a summer movie.
Was that Olympus Down?
Yeah, that didn't do anything. What was the other one? There was another one.
You got me, man. I'm drawing a blank. I remember the the Jamie Foxx one, and the Lone Ranger was definitely underperforming. But I can't remember what else, because I can't think of anything else that was supposed to be big. It was just funny to me because that was it White House Down, the name of it?
Yeah.
It was just funny because like we talked about that article where the Heat beat it in the opening weekend, and I just thought that was funny because comedy beats action movie, and not only did it did what 40 million in its first week, and it only took 43 million to make that movie. So that movie is gonna bank so much money, whereas that White House Down movie made 25 in the first week, and it cost well over 150 million to make.
Yeah.
So that movie's on its pace looks like it may finish at, if they're lucky, 80 million. I don't know.
After Earth was the other one I forgot about.
Oh, dude.
That
was a colossal one.
Which I think Will Smith hired M. Night Shyamalan for that, just so if it did fail, he could blame the director.
Probably. I wouldn't.
Because the whole concept for that movie is Will Smith's. Like, he came up with that whole, it's basically his movie, he just had to find a director. And you think, I'm Will Smith, I can find just pretty much any director I want, more or less.
He can write his own ticket.
Yeah, well, I don't know if I want to take the full blame, so who's the most hated director out right now? Who takes crap for everything? I'll hire him.
See, I wonder if it's that, or if when he was shopping around, so many directors were like, "Oh hell no!"
You just think Will Smith that they would have been at least intrigued,
right?
Because he's a big movie star.
How what about? Have you heard anything about World War Z? Was that supposed to be a smash?
I don't know, but I don't think it's been a flop. I feel like it's kind of gotten mixed reviews, maybe.
Last number I'm seeing is 123 total, 123 million.
So that'll probably,
it cost the 190 to make. So yeah, they still got a ways to go. But it's only been 2 weeks, so we don't know.
It's only been 2 weeks, and plus
we don't know what this week's numbers have hit yet either.
Yeah, and that's probably once it goes to China or how they.
Brad Pitt will make the money back.
Yeah,
he's that kind
of. And I know
guy.
People that saw it and really liked it.
Really?
Yeah, but I don't know. I know people that saw Superman and loved it, and other people that were like, "This was weak."
Yeah, I can't I've heard people say, "Oh man, Superman's back," and looking at the numbers, it's definitely back because it's way. The last one didn't even come close to what they've done so far. There's only been 3 weeks. The last one probably maybe have made 140, and they're at 248 right now.
Wow.
Yeah. I haven't heard anyone talk about a Star Trek movie, and I know people get geeked up about it, but it didn't seem like it was a huge success. It's made over its budget, but I don't hear anyone going crazy for it.
A lot of critics loved it, but then a couple critics were like, "This isn't Star Trek."
Wow.
They it's good, but it's not. It's more like what they call it, almost like a Jason Bourne movie with the edits and.
Oh really?
But not that it was, obviously it's sci-fi and everything, but it's just that it doesn't feel like Star Trek is all, which some people might be great with, and other people. A lot of Trekkies might piss them off.
I'll give you an example of. Let me go back to this thing real quick. When you were talking about the foreign numbers, After Earth, cost 130 million to make. Domestically, only 58 million. Throw in the foreign numbers, which it did 130 million overseas, 189 total. So as much of a flop as it is, it's doing its thing.
It'll be all right.
Yeah. They'll be fine. Iron Man 3, man. I haven't heard anyone talk about it. The reviews were very mixed, but U.S. alone, $405 million. Holy crap. Overseas, 804.
Jeez.
Holy crap. And you never hear anyone talk about it. I haven't heard anyone tell me, hey, Iron Man 3 is great, but apparently tons of people went out to see it, which is always kind of interesting to me. Maybe not as much for everyone else. Dude, I never heard anyone talk about a Hangover 3 outside of, the movie radio guys that we talked about.
Well, I just saw, was it Rotten Tomatoes? basically critics don't think much of it.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know, like, I'll say it again, but I've never left a movie more pissed off as when I left Hangover 2. Because I like the first one so much.
Right, first one's great.
And the second one just pissed me off no end, where they made a third one, and I was like, meh, you fooled me once.
Not this time.
No.
You got anything else you want to talk about?
We can wrap it up soon, but I just did see, I'll go through real quick, top box office flops of all time.
Go for it.
See if you saw any of them. Cutthroat Island.
Nope, that's Gina Davis and Matthew
Was it
Modine.
Matthew Modine? Yeah. The Alamo.
No. Is that Costner?
Isn't that the one Billy Bob directed?
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I could be wrong, because there was 2 movies that came out about the
I
Alamo at the
think
same time.
you're
You know how
right.
it always happens?
Yo, I think you're right. Let me see.
Let's see which one it is.
Let's see.
Because the one that Billy Bob Thornton directed, I heard actually wasn't that bad.
Oh, really?
But I guess it just,
I don't know.
that doesn't mean anything.
Well, there's one that he's in. He didn't direct it.
Okay.
Because it says directed by John Lee Hancock. And Dennis Quaid, Billy Bob Thornton, Jason Patrick are in it.
Well, that's the Alamo.
Yeah. So I wondered.
Well, maybe that's the one. Maybe I just thought he directed it for some reason. The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Yeah, of course not.
Isn't that the one Louis C.K. did?
No, that's he did Pootie Tang.
Pootie Tang. Wasn't that a huge disaster too, though?
But not really, because nobody was thinking much of it to start with.
Yeah.
And I've seen Pootie Tang, and it's interesting. It's dumb laughs. That's the best way I can describe it.
Sahara, I think I vaguely remember that. Mars Needs Moms. That only came out 2 years ago.
And that was an animated movie.
Yeah,
Those usually are hits.
Yeah.
They
the
rarely
13th,
bomb. Go ahead.
13th Warrior.
Isn't that Antonio Banderas?
It might be. Town and Country. I vaguely remember hearing about that.
I don't know about that one.
Speed Racer.
Oh my god. That was the Matrix guys, wasn't it? That made that movie?
Yep. And Stealth. And
that was a Jamie Foxx movie.
Is it?
Yeah. That has Jessica Biel and somebody else in it. Because that was the movie he did right after Ray, after he won the Oscar. And I was like, oh, you're going to follow it up with that piece of garbage? But that's probably one that they had done and shelved. And they're like, he won the Oscar. Let's put that thing out there. Because remember, that was the deal with Pluto Nash. It wasn't, Eddie Murphy didn't win the Oscar, but it was like right after Nutty Professor and Dr. Dolittle. And those movies were huge hits, the remakes that he did. So they had that Pluto Nash movie, like, they had shot it years ago and had it stashed, and they were like, Eddie's hot again, let's put it back out.
One is, that you always hear about is Heaven's Gate, which,
It was in that.
Chris Christopherson, Christopher Walken, Jeff Bridges, John Hurt. It's the same guy that did, The Deer Hunter, I believe.
Oh, interesting. That's a movie I need to watch.
You've never seen The Deer Hunter?
No, I have it recorded, so it's
That's great.
It's 3 hours long, so I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
I had to get myself fired up to watch it.
So I love The Deer Hunter, and he was like the director's Michael Cimino, and he was friggin', huge, do whatever you want, so then he does, and Heaven's Gate was just huge budget, that whole thing, and it just was a huge bomb.
Oh, dude.
But people now claim it was, not that bad. Like,
doesn't it always happen? That's what they remember. They said if you read any articles about Scarface, it was box office flop. But yeah, it's become this huge cult film that people love and will quote. But at the time when it came out, people hated Scarface.
it's funny because about Heaven's Gate. Let me see. I just lost it.
Dude, I pulled.
They have a quote from Roger Ebert, because everybody was hating on it, and it was like, it's the most scandalous cinematic waste I've ever seen, and remember, I've seen Paint Your Wagon, which, I don't know if you've seen Paint Your Wagon.
I haven't.
It's Clint Eastwood, and it's a musical, and he sings. Dude, I love that movie.
Oh, God.
Like, it's funny. But I was like, you can't hate on Paint Your Wagon. That's a classic.
See, that's like hating Pootie Tang, man.
Yeah. But
I just think there's certain movies out there that people like are gonna hate because it just looks dumb, which I get. But there's certain movies that you'll watch because, take for instance the one we love, Dirty Work. Most people wrote Dirty Work off as this stupid looking comedy.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah, I'm laughing like a maniac watching it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't really know if it was like the people in it weren't revered enough, or it's Bob Saget directing, so nobody can like it.
That's not cool, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, I had to look up that Town and Country. Oh my goodness. It's Warren Beatty, Diane Keaton, Goldie Hawn, Gary Shandling, Andy McDowell, Jenna Elfman.
I think they released it like a couple years after they made it. It was
oh,
one
really?
Of those things.
Yeah, because it's in here 2001. Dude, it had a $90 million budget. It made 10. Oh, painful. Yeah, it looks like a movie I wouldn't want to watch.
Yeah, Martin Scorsese says there's a lot of good things about Heaven's Gate. Of course, that doesn't do that guy any good right now.
Of course, that happens a lot where other directors and people in the industry are like, I love that movie, but it didn't really do really well, and you can never tell because who knows what the public is gonna like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just interesting, slightly interesting to me to hear. That's I love lists like that because there's stuff you wouldn't even thought about. Like Town and Country, man, no clue. I never heard of that movie. Holy crap, literally. I was just trying to look up and see what else this director did. The last movie he directed, Hannah Montana the movie.
Wow.
He directed a movie with your boy, I think. Yep.
Who's that?
He directed Serendipity with John Cusack.
Okay. Who was that? The guy that did.
I think it looks like Peter Chelsom. I mean, I didn't recognize the name when I saw it. Probably the only other movie that people would know is I remember when it came out. That Shall We Dance with Richard Gere.
Oh, jeez.
Jennifer Lopez. Susan Sarandon. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Dude, the movie made $170 million. Holy crap. I never guessed that. So, he did bounce back. Making stuff that makes money. That just got me curious. I got to know what the Hannah Montana movie did. 155? What the fuck?
It's Hannah Montana, baby.
I mean, I knew it and I shouldn't have been shocked, but it was just like, really? Really? I mean, dude.
The girl's a moneymaker.
But you would think, like, based on his last 3 movies after that, 77, 150, 130, man. He hasn't done anything in 4 years that we know of. Maybe he just took his money and went home. Well, I think that's a good point to call it a night.
Yep.
All right, folks, we hope you enjoyed some stories. Till next time, bottom feeders.
Word.
We out.